As I continue my totally scientific studies to see what I'll get back in insurance, I moved to the M4. But instead of taking a stock M4 with iron sights as bad as the SA-58s, I decided to slightly modify it to use the PK06. A red dot that has fallen from grace. As a 75,000 plus ruble sight used by Chads to an 8,000 ruble sight sold by Jaeger, and the cheapest non-iron sight on the market. And to not have a horrible sight picture, I replaced the front sight gas block with a Mark 12 low profile gas block for $46, or about 6,000 rubles. Now when it comes to getting a stock M4, I chose to use the M4A1 standard, available at Peacekeeper 1, for 3 CPUs and 3 CPU fans. This is going to run about 60 to 90k on the flea, or the same gun is available at Peacekeeper 2 for $548, or 69,000 rubles.
Nice.
Or, if someone put it up on the flea market, it's going to be around 60k. I could have probably gone with one of the more budget ways of getting an M4, but decided I wanted to test if people would take the stock M4, not an M4. So I didn't do the classic buy an M4 receiver from Mechanic 2 for 20k, then buy an 8R on the market for about 20k or less, and then have a 40,000 ruble M4. Now in terms of stats, the stock M4 is pretty bad. 54 ergo is pretty solid. The 87 vertical recoil is a bit much, especially in full auto at range.
Wildly.
But it's pretty fine up close or if you're just hip firing. And the sights are not good, which is why I had the PK06. For magazines, I took 2 extra standard Stanag mags with M856A1, as it's a budget round and I can actually do something without being ridiculously expensive like M855A1. But as it is budget, it is still worse than the previous bullet, M80, in every way, including price. It cannot even pen level 4. The rest of the kit, which I ran to see who would take it, is a direct upgrade from the previous video. I brought a drawbridge instead of a burr cut for 5 more extra slots of space at 40,000 rubles from Ragman 3, which is a 17,000 ruble increase in price. A shamog instead of a cold peer balaclava at about the same price, but you don't see them as often, so maybe people will take them more than the regular black balaclavas. An M2 armored rig for 3 round sunglasses and 3 Colpack visors from Ragman 3. This will run about 75k on the flea market right now, and the price of the rig outright on the flea is sometimes cheaper, but price varies a lot and there aren't very many offers to begin with, so sometimes there just won't even be an offer up there. I chose this rig because Papa Pestilli ranked the M2 1 tier higher than the 6B13 for level 4 armor, which is the tier armor I want to stick with in my testing, as it's not a level 5 or 6 high tier armor, but it's way better than trying to take in level 3 and surviving scav shots. I also added Comtax for 29k from Ragman 2, so I can actually hear things, and ears should really be in your kit on any run you do, so data for this will be pretty good. The total cost of this kit is 261k, including 90 rounds of 5.6A1 and another 54k to insure. Also, to make these tests more scientific, I didn't loot at all, making the loot someone can take off of me the same no matter what. Now looking at the table, you can see that as opposed to the first time I did this, I only died to a scav once. And this scav was on something else, because he jumped up on the mounted machine gun on Alamo, and then he killed the guy I was fighting, and then killed me with it. And I ended up getting all of my stuff back. Now that was the time I got the most stuff back, which was all of it, but if we look, the time I got the least stuff back, being just my Shamog, I actually got killed by probably a hatchling that I saved his life, but he stole Sniper Scav's SKS and then shot me in the face with it later. And of course he was super poverty probably and completely took everything I had, but my Shamog for some reason.
Blade never built. Damn near. Yeah, try to back. Oh, that's. Well, that was
a little too much effort into that bronze.
They put a lot of effort. I can appreciate it.
Another honorable mention for when I didn't get much stuff back, being just my magazines and my Shamog, was when I'm pretty sure a knower came up into the USEC warehouse and then shot me in the face with Igolnik after nading my room twice, even though I hadn't moved at all. And it was so late in the raid, I'm not even sure why he was on that side of the map.
Surrounded by sky, and the sky is blue. And from the blue sky, the blue sea gets its hue. Oh, rain. Oh, rain. Oh, rain. Oh, rain.
Yeah, this dude was gaming. Might as well just look at the first run that I did with this gun, where I snuck up on a guy, just legged the shit out of him, and then got killed by PS. At least I didn't take anything, except for maybe my ammo, because the magazine was taken out of my gun. I did 360 damage to a dude and he killed me. That's great. That isn't the most damage I did to someone and then them still killing me though. I did go into third story dorms once, was walking around, and then thought I kept hearing someone walking around, and then when I started creeping, they just full sprinted down the hallway and then shot me in the forehead with SS-190 after I had completely blown out their legs and stomach out.
I mean, I understand these battles I'm doing right now are tutorial in Fire Emblem, but that was just pathetic. You didn't even have to read what was going on. You seen Takumi, and you're like, oh, I have to attack somebody.
That's gonna be it for this video. I did think I was going to get a lot more PMC and scav kills with the M4 just because it's, you know, fully automatic and stuff, but it turns out just using M80, which is just a way better bullet that can pen the armor most people use, worked out better for me. I think the next video that I'm going to make in this series is going to be the SR25, as it's about the same price as the stock M4 that I was using, but I'll be able to use M80 again, which is just a better bullet. Also, it's another one of those guns that you don't really see super often, but it's kind of regarded as this really good gun that everyone always asks streamers to use. And finally, looking at the entire chart, it's kind of a mixed bag as to who is taking all of this stuff, because the guy that killed me with a Scav SKS took everything, but so did the guy using Igolnik and the guy using SS190 out of a P90, but the guy using a 7.62 PS AK didn't take any of my stuff, and almost neither did a guy using M61, AP20, M855, M856A1, or Quakemaker. They all didn't really take anything. And it's also very interesting that not a lot of people took the drawbridge, as most people use Burkutts or Scav BPs or the pillbox, and the drawbridge is just better as it has 5 extra slots. Comtacs were taken about as much as I expected, which is about half the time. The PK06 is kind of surprising to me, as it vendors for only 4,000 rubles about, so it isn't really that worth it to part it off. And if you wanted to take it off to use it yourself, it's only 8 grand, so pretty much any junk item that you find on the ground is going to be worth more than the PK06. The Ana M2 didn't get taken that much, but I never see anyone else run it, really, and the market kind of shows how little people use it, considering how much cheaper it is than the M1 rig, even though it's pretty much the exact same thing. I think the next balaclava I'm going to be using is the smoke balaclava, which is worth a lot more than any of the other balaclavas, if you want to take it out and then sell it. And I'm very surprised that only 2 people took my M4. I thought it'd be a lot higher than that.
This is not actually not exactly correct anymore. Technology has advanced to where we have 3D fictional waifus. What a time to be alive.